Alright everybody, so I just saw the Barbie movie. Let's go ahead and see how I feel about this. So, I'll be honest with you, this wasn't a movie that was, on my list of things to go see. Be completely honest with you, never didn't grow up playing Barbies. I know knew of Barbies, you know, family members had Barbies, you know, girls I went to school with play with Barbies. You know Barbies, right? Especially if you're my age, you know Barbie. So I had no like inkling to see the movie, but me being the dad of a little girl, she saw the previews. She wanted to see it. Now let me be honest for a second. My daughter's out of state, so I saw this movie by myself, and I told myself initially, "Hey, you're seeing it for, you know, to review it. You're seeing it so you can review it and you can tell how you feel about it because that's part of reviewing movies. You can't just review movies you want to see and not review movies that you don't want to see. You can't do that. That's not right. But then as I got closer to Barbie, the time was going to come out. Started to get a little bit more excited. The trailers were interesting. The people who they casted, I'm fans of. I'm a fan of Margot Robbie since Wolf of Wall Street. I'm a fan of Ryan Gosling. I think he's incredibly underrated. And then some of the other people they had, Simi Lou, Issa Rae, uh, America Ferrera. Will Ferrell's in the movie. There's a couple other cameos who they didn't announce that are in this movie that are going to be, shocking when you see it. So, I was definitely interested in what this was going to be. Because truth be told, I'll give you the plot what I got from the trailer. Barbie's living her daily life in Barbie world, and all of a sudden she starts not acting like a Barbie. She starts to have an existential crisis about what she should like, who she is, and that takes her on a journey to the real world. And then she's supposed to see how the real world is. For the most part, that is what you get in this movie. But the movie does a really good job of building what this world is for Barbie. Barbie world. And I think for one, Greta Gerwig needs to really be shouted out for the incredible job she did directing this movie. I remember before this movie came out, there was a big story about the world supply of pink paint was at a huge shortage because of the Barbie movie. Because, she wanted the sets, the Barbie world, the entire sets with the dream houses and everything to be painted pink. And if it was, not CGI, it needed to really be painted pink. And as a moviegoer, I appreciate that because that amount of pink was never off-putting. It was funny for this to be a make-believe world. This is going to be my first pro, by the way. For this to be a make-believe world, it felt incredibly real. But in a way where it didn't feel real. It felt fun. It felt imaginative. It felt like, to them, to me, I know this isn't real, but to them, it's real. And, I don't want to go into too much. I don't want to spoil it because there are some nice little surprises, some nice little gems. But let's go ahead and just go into the pros and the cons of the movie. And then I'll give my overall rating. So, I did my first pro talking about how great Greta Thunberg was. My first con is as much as we're in the Barbie world, I don't know, maybe it was just me. I didn't feel like I got enough of Barbie and Ken being in the real world. Like it felt rushed compared to the amount of time you spend in the movie in Barbie Land. And I don't know, I kind of wish we got more of antics and hijinks of them being in the real world before they had to go back to Barbie World or Barbie Land. So that's one con I have. Now another pro, speaking of Barbie and Ken, is the actor. Sorry, it's the actors. I would say, like I said, to me, Ryan Gosling is criminally underrated, and this movie is just another testament to how underrated he truly is. Dude, he was hilarious as Ken, and he has his own, search for identity, just like Barbie, of who he is, and it's a huge part of the movie. I'm not going to give any spoilers about what happens with his character, but he is, and the funny thing is the fact is they're all, there's a bunch of different Kens. Kinsley Ben Adler, who you've seen in One Night in, oh my god, the movie where he played Malcolm X. One Night in Vegas, the movie where he played Malcolm X. He's also in Secret Invasion. He's a Ken. Simu Liu, who you know from Shang-Chi, is also a Ken. He's actually the rival to Ryan Gosling's Ken. And just another assortment of Kens. There's also one cameo of a Ken that they did not show in any of the trailers, so I won't spoil it for you. If you go online, you'll see it, but I'm not going to spoil it for you. But it was a nice little, this person's in the movie. That's pretty cool. And then of course, the Barbies themselves. It was great to see Issa Rae. She plays, the President Barbie. You also have a couple of other Barbies. You have Kate McKinnon as Weird Barbie. You have which she's awesome in the movie. Also, she's really good in the movie. So all the Barbies are great. And America Ferrera and her daughter are really good in it too. The girl who plays her daughter, they're really good. But the true star of the movie is Margot Robbie, and she carries this movie. I've been a fan of Margot since, God, Wolf of Wall Street. And I've seen her in other things as well. The Suicide Squad movies. The movie she had with Will Smith, was it Touch or I've seen her in other things. But this was different. She plays Barbie well. Well is an understatement when I'm saying this, but she plays it well. But what I didn't realize with Margot Robbie is how great of an actress she is when she's not saying anything. When she's giving emotion. You feel that emotion in the movie watching her. So, and like I said, you're with her 95% of this movie. You're with Barbie. And you're on this journey with her. And she absolutely knocks it off. I would even argue this might be my favorite Margot Robbie performance. Now, a con that I have. I'm not a fan of Will Ferrell's character. Or maybe the placement of Will Ferrell is probably a better way to say it. I'm not a fan of, his purpose in the movie because it kind of serves no purpose. He plays the CEO of Mattel, who's, trying to get Barbie back into her world. But it's silly, but then it's kind of overdone, and then it's like at some point he disappears and he shows back up, and you're like, I felt watching at one point, oh, is he going to show up? Oh, is he not going to show up? Oh, you're still in the movie. I totally forgot you were here. I felt if he was going to be in the movie, it should have been a smaller role. It wasn't the president business in the Lego movie, which to me, this movie kind of gave me vibes of that too. And I don't know, like I was he to me, like when he showed up, it kind of brought the movie down. And then another pro, and this will be my third pro, is how imaginative and unique this movie is. I think that's the best thing about this movie. There's nothing like it. You know, in especially in the summer where it's nothing but blockbusters or what we feel like the same movies. This isn't it. This is completely different. This is completely unique, but in a way that this felt like a movie I've grown up watching. Like this seemed like this took me back to when I used to go see movies, and I used to really enjoy it. You know, because it was unique, it was different, it was an experience. I found myself lost in the story. I found myself lost in the world. There was no point where I was taken out. And again, that's a credit to the actors. That's a credit to Greta Gerwig. That's a credit to the risk that the movie is willing to take, not just with the subject matter, not just with the jokes. Don't get me wrong. Some of the jokes don't land. Some of the jokes you're like, you kept that in? Okay. But then there are some that are incredibly funny. But it's that, and it's really just, I walked away really, really liking this movie. Probably more than I thought I would. You know, I thought it was going to be silly, but there's so much heart. There's so much, you know, I'm trying to find the right word to say it. It's just, there's a message in the movie, which I figured there would be a message, and it is about, you know, female identity and being who you are in this world, or whether it's the real world or the Barbie world, and finding your own path. And yes, it does speak to the female, but to the female perspective. But to be fair, it's kind of it speaks to the male perspective as well. When we see with certain characters, which, by the way, the villain or the antagonist who appears, it is not what you expect, but I thought it was perfect to show that they were the antagonists. So when it comes to a con, I usually try to give equal it 3-3. I can't think of a third con. I, you know, I'll be honest with you. It's one of my favorite movies of the summer. If I'd be even further with you, it might be one of my favorite movies of the year. Like, I truly, truly enjoyed the Barbie movie. If I had to rank it out of, you know, 5 stars, it gets 4.75, 4.75. Like, I and besides Margot Robbie's acting, right, and besides Ryan Gosling, the actors, right, besides that, what really, really sold me on the movie, what kept me engaged, is the fact that in this world of make believe, it felt real. You know, I compare it to Mission Impossible, where when I watched Mission Impossible, which check my channel for the review for that as well. But when I watched Mission Impossible, that felt real in the sense of where they were in the world. When they were in Rome, they felt like they were in Rome. When they were in this part of Europe, they felt like they were in this part of Europe. It still all felt real. Same thing with this movie. Yes, when they're in California, when they're in LA, yeah, it feels like they're in California and LA. But when they're in Barbie world, a world that's not real, because of Greta Gerwig's determination to use real sets, which that's another thing. we'll get to that in a second because I'm now running kind of long with this. But it felt real. It felt like the playhouse that she was in, they built to be an actual Barbie's dream house. That all felt real. And there's certain scenes that they do that because it's sets and they're built that way, it felt nostalgic like that was the old way they used to do it. But because it's not the way it's done now, it felt so unique and so current. So again, in this review, because I know I've ran kind of long with this one, BarbieMovie, 4.75 out of 5. I enjoyed it. I liked it. You know, I haven't looked at anyone else ratings on it yet. You know, it'll be interesting to, tell me what you think. Tell me how you feel. Did you enjoy the movie? What would you rate it out of 5? With that being said, this is Greg from Blerd Lines, signing out.